Welcome to the North Group podcast. At North Group, we are often invited into organizations to influence leadership and organizational behaviors. It is through these sustained relationships that we gain a deeper understanding of each client and the many ways they benefit their employees, their customers, and the broader community. It is impressive. Through this podcast series, we will be sharing the stories of a few of these clients and how they make our communities better.
I have the privilege of discussing a long-term North Group client, Alderfer Glass, with my friend and partner, Craig Schloneger. Craig, welcome.
Thank you.
And this is just another case where I guess it's common to us, but uncommon in other parts of the world, maybe other parts of the nation. Third generation company, 1961, recently accomplished a transition to the third generation with multiple third generation family members involved. Give us a little history. I mean, this company's 50 years of success. How did they get started, and quick summary of how they got to where they are now?
Yeah, thanks, Roger, and it's really good to be with you on this podcast. Alderfer Glass has been just a great client to work with, and as you said, they're 60 plus some years old right now, and it really started with the origins with Bob and Stan Alderfer, two brothers.
Okay.
That got started in the business, and they really had some characteristics, a strong work ethic. They had the characteristic of quality product, and that meant a lot to them to deliver quality product. And they also were owners who lived and worked in the community and worshiped in the community where they were providing services. So that was the beginning of Alderfer Glass. And then it passed down to the second generation, which was Dale Alderfer and Wendell Weaver. And they took those same characteristics of strong work ethic, just a real pride in being a glazier and doing it well, and also living and worshiping in the community and working in the homes of that community. And now that's passed to the third generation, and that happened just over a year ago. And it's really neat to see Ben Weaver, Nate Weaver, and Lauren Palmer take that tradition and move it forward. Again, they carry those same exact characteristics into the third generation.
So the foundation is pretty much the same, but I imagine the house is, to use a metaphor, the house is being remodeled as time goes on. Do you see this company getting better and better? And I'm guessing the answer to that is yes. And if so, how?
Yeah, I do see it getting better. They keep building. Each generation keeps building on the last generation. And so the current generation, the third generation, is really embracing change and trying to look for different alternatives to problems that might emerge. And they're looking at also expansion. So it's really fascinating to see just how each generation has built on the previous generation, and they continue to grow.
I noticed some verbiage on the website. Of course, it's more and more common for companies to list their core values on the website, and of course, we know from working with some of these companies take them more seriously than others. I tend to think that when I see core values listed in more unique phraseology, that perhaps that's more meaningful to employees and customers. And I wondered that in the case of Alderfer Glass, because I saw that they talked about being customer-focused, employee-motivated, and faith-based and God-empowered. And I think there's an additional thing that maybe you want to tell us about. So talk about how that gets weaved in and maybe the ways that this company is exceptionally successful. I know whenever you tell me different stories about where they're serving, the size of jobs they're doing, the people that they're hiring, I'm just really impressed by their business acumen and their commitment to these values.
Yeah, and to add to that, they're really diversified because they have a commercial division.
Okay.
And so if you think of commercial buildings, wherever you see glass, it could be glass walls, it could be windows, it could be doors. They're working with general contractors on those jobs.
Okay.
They have a residential division which
So if I
the homeowner,
if I needed my windows replaced,
if you need window replacement, but also shower enclosures is
Okay.
a big part
All right.
of.
Yeah.
So wherever you might have glass inside the home,
Okay.
they also provide that. And then they have 5 retail stores. So as you mentioned, they're located not only in Bucks County, but Montgomery County and also Lehigh County.
Okay.
So they provide those services, and then they have a small auto glass division too. So anything glass, they probably would take on and touch in one way or another. But coming back to your original point about some of their core values
Yeah.
of being customer focused, employee motivated, and faith-based and God-empowered, that comes through in a lot of different ways. And I'll just touch base on the employee motivated a little bit. As a lot of great family businesses do, when they think about family, they're not only thinking about their own family as owners, they're thinking about the families of employees at the same time. So that's really important to them, is just to keep embracing the employee group.
Okay.
And so, the real success stories is you have some employees that have been there 30, 40, and some even 50 years.
50 years?
50 years. And then that passes on to other generations of employees that see this is a great place to work.
Yeah.
And so they're also a part of it. But there's another area that I really think brings success to them and just pride in how they do their work that carries over to the employees, is the core value of driven to exceptional practices in glass. And so this also touches the customer, because when they're working with glass as glaziers, they want to do it the absolute best that they can do. And so there's pride in the craftsmanship. There's pride in delivering something really well to the customer. And then employees take pride in that too, because they want to do that same job and have pride in their craftsmanship as a glazier.
What you just explained, you've been around long enough to have an opinion on this. Do you think that in and of itself, what you just explained, that there's enough customers out there that care, that it's actually part of driving their growth and success? Is that your observation?
I think absolutely.
Okay.
Because, the way brands are often conveyed is people wear certain clothes because the brand represents something.
Yeah.
That can also go to people in the craft, doing different craftsmanship, that I am calling so-and-so because I know I'm going to get a good product, a good quality product. And yes, I do think they care, because these are important things in their homes that they'll see every day.
I have a friend that has a small glass company.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm interested in asking him about the company and so forth. And the contrast with that particular company and with what I know about Alderfer are, I guess I'll say, significant.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's interesting to me, though, is that glaziers, you've taught us that term here today, people that have expertise in working with glass, are often unionized. Does Alderfer utilize unionized workers? They certainly have opportunities to compete in areas where unionized workers may be required.
Yeah.
What do you know about that piece of that? Because this other contrast, it was all union workers.
Yeah. No, Alderfer Glass is not a union shop.
And they don't utilize.
On occasion, they may have 1 or 2 glaziers come work out of a union program, but no, they don't utilize union labor on an ongoing basis, although they compete in areas where it's there. But again, when you are employee motivated and really do well to take care of your employees, that becomes less of an issue for the employees.
Okay, so the whole employee motivated value is about thinking from the inside out to what's important to the employee, and is that where yeah, sure, we can talk about wages and benefits and things like that, but those things are so easily equalized by competitors.
That's right.
And I'm guessing that glaziers expert glaziers in particular aren't the easiest people to find.
Yeah.
So they need to find ways, don't they, to capture the loyalty, I guess you will, of these employees on a long-term basis. And you're saying, hey, we've got employees here 30, 40, even 50 years. How do they go about doing that? What have you noticed?
It's not so much just a certain program that makes that happen,
Yeah.
but I do think another piece of this is each one of the family ownership groups. It could be, it could have been Bob or Stan. It could have been Wendell or Dale, or even Lauren and Ben and Nate. They all can do the jobs that the employees do.
Oh, so they have the actual skills.
They have the actual skills that on any given day, they can be out there and doing it. Now, they don't do that now because they've got a business to run. But they're capable. They all grew up in it. They know exactly how the processes go, and they can help with problem solving at every
So you're
level.
thinking that drives some of the employee motivated thing, because even though they may be in an office reviewing financials or estimating jobs or whatever the case may be, that they have empathy for what it takes to actually execute some of these very sophisticated jobs that they take on.
They've been in the field. They know exactly what employees are going through out in the field, so they understand that firsthand. Absolutely.
And here's another organization, Craig. I think this characterizes so many of our clients that you and I talked beforehand a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Alderfer, how much they contribute to the larger community in terms of, certainly dollar contributions, but talent and physical labor and things like that, and how little they're willing to talk about it. And it makes our job on these podcasts just a little bit harder because we want to tell those stories. But these companies, of which Alderfer is such a great example, are just so understated. And I think it's partially their humility, the background, the faith and tradition in which they've been brought up. But it's also because, hey, this is normal to them.
Yes.
And it's such a privilege, I think, for us here at North Group to be affiliated with organizations that just teach us on a day-to-day basis what it's like to weave in service and selfless, humble kinds of giving back, just as a way of being, just as a way of life. And it seems like the Alderfer folks are just a wonderful example of that.
You said that exactly right. It's just kind of the rhythm of what their life is. If it's personal life, work life, church life, it just all gets melded together. And if you'd go and look at their website, I mean, they have 25 organizations that they regularly partner with or support in one way or another. And this ranges the whole gambit to little leagues, to great nonprofits, to the police department, the fire department, to Christian broadcasting. It just goes all around, and there they are supporting all of this, but it's not a major emphasis of what they
it's just their way of being.
It's their way of being. And again, that's been passed down from generation to generation.
And you see that being just as interwoven, just as strong in the third generation as it was in the second, and they got it from Grandpa, if you will.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And well, although I never got to meet Stan and Bob, I see that in Dale and Wendell and their commitment to many organizations, not only giving money, but giving of their time, serving on boards. And that this next group, exact same way. It's important to them, and they will continue to impact the community in those ways.
Yeah, that's just so fantastic. We are honored to serve Alderfer Glass. They make our communities better.